Peace. Good afternoon. Like to welcome you back to another edition of Foul Playland in vivo live. Um, I don't get to do these often, and a lot of times that I do them, I be taking mad long. Like sometimes I be taking like an hour, but pretty much every time I've done them, I had a really good time. And a lot of the dudes that be coming through are my peeps, so you know, it's always good to catch up with them. But the nature of today's video, or the crux of today's video, I want to try to go over the somewhat announcement of Bob Arum and or Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence, or somehow through the grapevine, like we're hearing about Bud Crawford fighting Manny Pacquiao. Wanted to talk about that a little bit. Wanted to give my opinions. Not that it matters much, but I'm gonna see if any of my peeps jump on first before I get into grim and gory. But if you, I mean, if you haven't really heard yet, the like the rumor is that come June, I think like early June, they already have a fight set up for between Manny Pacquiao and Bud Crawford. And I'm not gonna front. It caught me off guard. I mean, like you did hear of like sorry. You did hear some rumors like regarding like Bud Crawford fighting Josecito Lopez or Sean Porter to a degree. And a lot of people that are more like kind of like lined up with Errol Spence, like were begging like Terrence Crawford to fight Sean Porter. Which I get that. I mean, it's a small step up in competition. Actually, I don't get that. Get out of here. It's a small step up in competition for Bud at welterweight, but it's not like the fight that I needed to see. Like that's not gonna validate Bud for me. Like, I mean, and nobody. I mean, like in hindsight, I mean, I hope nobody says like Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but I mean, honestly, and I touched on this in a video I made yesterday, is that a lot of like Errol Spence defenders or fans were making more videos about Bud Crawford fighting Sean Porter than they were about Errol Spence fighting Bud Crawford. So I mean, it just wasn't making sense to me. And like to be frank, I mean, like people think that you're too busy to remember stuff, and I think I have a very like I have a pretty vivid memory, as is. Not the best, but I mean, I have a decent memory. Mind you, I haven't slept like for like 24 hours probably. But as I'm making this video, so if I don't recall like names and whatnot, you'll have to excuse me. But when before Errol Spence and Sean Porter fought, nobody like gave a shit like about Sean Porter for the most part. And I'm not dissing Sean Porter. It is what it is. Like a lot of people were making fun of his gear. A lot of people were making fun of his teeth. His dad making fun, like like saying that his dad had his career by the balls. And all of a sudden, I mean, he gives Errol Spence a good fight, and then Errol Spence showed like being non-committal about fighting Bud Crawford even before that fight. I mean, it just seemed like he wanted to rush towards fighting Sean Porter, and then a couple of weeks later, it's like now Bud Crawford got to fight Sean Porter. Like, shouldn't the immediate talk after that fight be Sean Porter fighting Errol Spence again? But the problem was that a lot of these people are moving based off of Errol Spence's moves. And the thing is that Errol Spence, after he beat Sean Porter, Danny Garcia jumped into the ring, and like everybody had a good idea that pretty much set in their minds that Errol Spence was gonna fight Danny Garcia, and nobody was co-signing that fight. Like immediately after, everybody anticipated that Errol Spence would call out Bud Crawford. I mean, because no matter at the end of the day, like even if you think Errol Spence is gonna get his ass whooped, in your heart of hearts, you still want to see that fight. Like I'm not gonna diss you like that, or go too out of pocket, like as far as like name calling and whatnot, like with Errol Spence's fanboys. I'll just leave it at Errol Spence fanboys, and I'm not gonna go too deep. But also too, I left the link in the my comment section. If anybody wants to jump on and contend my notions or endorse my notions, you're more than willing to. I mean, I'm more than willing to have you on. But since Errol Spence, pivoted and like seemingly was more than willing to fight Danny Garcia right after he beat Sean Porter, that fight was made, and then everybody's like pushing Sean Porter, like Sean Porter for Bud Crawford. When nobody was mentioning that, like, a week before Errol Spence fighting Sean Porter. Like everybody's natural assumption was that Errol Spence was chasing belts. So he beats Sean Porter for a belt. Fine. Why fight Danny Garcia? If you're on a quest to hunt belts down, and I don't want to hear no bullshit about that was a mandatory. Mandatories are given and taken by a couple of bucks in a suitcase, and it's not even deep money like that. I'm pretty sure you could change a mandatory for 50 grand. So stop fronting like with Danny Garcia was a mandatory, because if that's the case, what did Danny Garcia do to earn that mandatory? Squat. So people try to like run game, like if Eddie Hearn in the past, people complained about like the fact that he was making mandatories like with these no-namers, like when it came to Anthony Joshua fights, then don't make it seem like PBC or whoever can't make that happen with these other belts and prop up some other like non-factor fighter to become a mandatory. And that's what happened with Danny Garcia. But everybody knew that fight was bullshit. Like that fight was total crap. So immediately, like if you're a Errol Spence defender and you base your YouTube career off defending Errol Spence or trying to be slick with your wording of trying to knock down Bud Crawford a peg, then you gotta like pivot like with Errol Spence, and Errol Spence is pivoting all the time, and there's only one direction in which he's pivoting, and that's away from a Bud Crawford fight. Period. The it's terrible to defend something like that, and like I'm gonna be honest. Like I mean, I've had friends like, and I've said this in the past, that weren't like brave like that. Like they weren't built like that. But when you have a friend like that, but I'm not gonna defend the friend. I'm not gonna defend a friend like that who's acting tough or acting like he's the super gangster. I'd be glad to see him get knocked down a peg too. So I mean, like and it's the same with these boxers. I mean, don't pivot when they make. It's okay to be critical of a boxer when he makes a move that you're not happy with, because I know none of these channels that I like, which a lot of them I used to listen to, weren't happy about Danny Garcia jumping in that ring and being like guaranteed a fight with Errol Spence shortly thereafter. Like nobody wanted that fight. Nobody a couple months before that was saying, like that's the fight we need to see, like Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. So when Errol Spence made that move, my anticipation was that maybe some of these boxing fans, or channels or whatever have you, fans would also show their disenfranchisement and say like, well, I'm not like digging that fight Not like I'm not digging that fight like for like a couple minutes, and then leading up to that fight, you're all endorsing it and then pushing for a Bud Crawford Sean Porter fight. Like anybody asks for that fight too. In my eyes, Sean Porter versus Bud Crawford at this point is equal to or less than Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence a couple months ago when it happened. And I'm not saying that one fight is better than the other. I'm saying they're both whack. They're both whack ass fights that I didn't want to see. But we're past that. I mean, and the main emphasis right now should be to make Sean Porter versus Errol Spence happen. And I'm seeing a lot of fans that are saying like, well, but Bob's not gonna come through with this fight, and which that's very well that's 100% feasible. I don't trust in the boxing gods as far as scheduling goes. Um, I don't trust Bob Arum. Like I could totally see that fight not materializing between Bud Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. But if that's the case, I also anticipate a lot of hoey like characters on the internet making it seem like they won some victory that Errol Spence is has a more positive position in his negotiation against Bud Crawford, a supposed negotiation, because I don't think Errol Spence wants that fight. Um, I'll take a little bit of a break, but with that, I want to introduce my homeboy, Michael Johnson, Boxing Talk and More. If you guys could, like, please subscribe to Michael Johnson, Boxing Talk and More. My good friend on YouTube and off YouTube. A little bit disappointed that he's smoking stogies, but Michael, let us know where we can find you.
They can find me on YouTube. I don't really care for all that, but if you find me, you find me. But hey, man, this is boxing, baby.
And if
Yeah,
I
but
may
we
ask,
we
my
bring,
friend, what kind
but we
what kind of
hold up
cigarette is that?
though.
If
Oh,
real
oh
quick,
man,
if
these nigga killers. What you think they is? New
what
pokes.
Hundos or Kings?
Nah, just the regulars.
Okay, that's what I used to smoke too. The
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like that sweater too, bro. The
Oh, the Michigan Football League. Yeah, I got the Michigan Football League sweater on. Homie had made it for me. I'm in another league right now. It's a top tier league. I don't even really be paying attention. I just wanna fucking play. You know what I'm saying?
nice.
And
Yo,
win. That's the
did
only
you used
thing
to
I be
play in
caring
high
about.
school, bro? Like, did you play in high school?
Yeah, I played linebacker and I played outside linebacker in high school.
Nice. Were you nasty or no?
I was all right. I mean, we averaged 50 yards rushing the game.
Pretty
That was
good.
our average. So,
That's really
you
good.
know, yeah, in the high school I was just really just a good role player. They wanted somebody fast on the edge. They wanted somebody that wasn't a punk, and that was me, and I did all the stupid things the coach used to tell me to do, hit people in the mouth and all that shit. And now when you get grown, you find out that's not even the way to go about it. But hey, our defense, we intimidated people. They could say they wasn't scared, but when they got hit, they knew what the deal was.
Yeah, I actually played high school football too, but only for a half a season because I graded out. I
Right.
The highest grade average I ever had in high school was 65, and that was my first semester. But I played junior varsity for Hamilton. Go Tigers. The nah, but what are your thoughts, man? Like as far as like I'll ask you straight up because you're more like in tune with how these negotiations play out and whatnot. But do you think that the fight between Bud Crawford and Manny Pacquiao is going to materialize?
It very well can. I mean, the guy is like 42 years old. Is like, what else star fight he's going to get? You know what I'm saying? But it's always that one thing. Manny Pacquiao gets to choose his opponents. Canelo gets to choose his opponents. So he's that legacy fight that everybody wants. Gamboa tried to be that legacy guy, but took too many L's. Couple other guys too start taking L's. So that is exactly what it is. But As far as any of these fighters wanting to make fights, I think they all want to make these fights, but you know, with these young guys, they know they have years in the game left in them to where they think they're good enough that they can hold out and keep um, winning and make these fights even bigger. And I think that's all what it is. Because like I keep trying to tell folks, man, if Crawford is sitting up, Crawford never said in that interview that he wasn't going to fight Spence. He never said it. If you take it, if you want to take it word for word, like everybody else takes shit, if you want to take it word for word, verbatim, he never said didn't want to fight Errol Spence. What he said was he's tired of all the hoopla in between. Fans coming at him, fans talking about his wife, fans talking about his sister, fans getting on his sister's ass because his sister wanted to run her mouth. So there's a lot of shit out there too. Um, the fight is going to happen, but the main thing about it is that why should we clown for a Crawford and Pacquiao fight when we should be clowning for an Errol Spence and Crawford fight?
Yeah, bro. Yo, like, and don't get it twisted, Mike. Like, I said the same thing that you just said in a video. Like, I don't want the Bud Crawford fucking Pacquiao fight. I really don't. Like, but it seemed like both these motherfuckers were chasing him. Both of them mentioned Pacquiao more than they mentioned each other. But a lot of people assume that like Errol Spence is a half god or something, and they thought that Pacquiao had like maybe zero shot of getting that fight, and now I mean that Bud Crawford had no chance of getting that fight, and now that he is getting it, I mean I see a lot of dudes that are looking a little sad, like, and there's no reason. I think if you think that Errol Spence is the A side, that's on you. Whatever, I don't give a shit. But this kind of brings a little bit more. Um, if anything, if you think Errol is that much more of an A side, it balances the scales out a little bit. Now only ask for Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford.
See, but this is the thing that I've been saying. Since I had a channel is basically like, you talk about the fights that you want to see, and all that other stuff, is just in the way and it's BS. And now a lot of people are adopting what I said, and a lot of people said that, I didn't, want to cuss me out and shit like that over this and want to call me stupid and stuff like that. But hold up.
No, I gotta ask you something about that point too. Real quick, and you keep going. When the time that you told me personally, don't mention it, who, but when they said they were cursing you out, was it about this fight?
It was about that fight and what I said about Devin Haney.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I put it like this. I said on the Smoke City Mobcast, I think that was the only time I was ever on the Smoke City Mobcast. Blood Boxing asked me who I think was ducking. And I picked a side, and then at the end, I said, fuck it. You know what? They both ducking. You know what I'm saying?
Who do you pick at first?
Well, I said Crawford because I already knew about his contract. I'm the only one at that particular time that actually saw his contract and gave it to people. I was the first one to even get it even mentioned. It wasn't Michael Benson or anything like that to actually see that, the time frame of his contract and how much he was getting paid per fight and stuff like that. I'm not talking about a bout agreement. I'm talking about this agreement that he had with Top Rank. And at the time, that contract still had one or two fights on it left. And you saw what he was getting paid, before he read up. But that's the reason why I said they both ducked, because the money they get in their pocket ain't got nothing to do with me. I want to see the fight. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm going to sit up over here and say one is ducking over the other, and this is the shit I've been saying, so I didn't grab this for nobody. I've been saying this shit. When you pick one fighter over the other, when it's a fight that you want to see so bad that you so what's that word? You're so you so erected that you about to bust. You know what I'm saying? What does it matter? Who's ducking or not? What does it matter? Who's A side and all this stuff? What does it matter what they did in their career? You want to see the fight that goddamn bad. And it's not because of, and usually it's not because of one guy over the other. It's because it takes two, and it's the matchup that got your ass sitting up over there ovulating. So, for all you, I don't know, man. Stop percolating over one fighter. Like Errol Spence versus Crawford. There's no need to talk about who's ducking. There is no fucking need, because guess what? That's gonna give the other guy to sit up over there, and you're gonna butter that other guy. You're gonna butter that other guy up, and he's gonna believe that shit. And he's gonna believe that shit, and because you gave him an out, you gave him a reason to sit up over there and say, "Well, I might just give you 30%. Well, I might just give you 20%." That shit ain't funny. That shit ain't funny. Nothing to talk about. As far as me as a boxing fan, it's the fight I want to see. You fucking up.
It's smug, bro. It's smug too, Mike. Like that attitude of like, oh well, he's gonna be lucky if he gets like whatever. Like my man, like as a fan, like what are you talking about that shit for anyway? You work at Costco stocking shit, and you're over here saying that he'll be lucky if he gets 30, like he'll be lucky if he gets 25% and laughing about that shit. Like girls, bro. Like I can't and not to insult anybody, bro. Like, and if you feel that way, bro, like whatever. Like if you get insulted by that, I don't give a shit. But a lot of these dudes, like even a couple of weeks ago, were just acting like straight bros, bro. Like and and honestly too, when there's a fight with any discussion that have to do with A side, B side, percentage, those are the conversations while they're happening and while they're hot and heavy. Those fights never get made. Like those are like it's only like when somebody takes a loss that those fights happen. But when Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, a lot of people were debating who is the bigger puller and whatnot, or who deserved like what. That fight was nowhere near being made until Manny Pacquiao lost twice. So I mean, and Manny Pacquiao is 100 times bigger than Errol Spence and Bud Crawford combined, especially back then. But these dudes think that they're making this fight happen when they're just picking sides, and the fight is like nowhere near happening, man. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
also,
but that's it.
And I don't think the fight's gonna happen. Like personally, I've taken that stance.
No, it's gonna happen. It's just whenever it makes sense for them, because for all I know, both of them are sitting back over there, they laughing at it. For all I know, they sitting up over there laughing at us. Talking about, see, look how many people talking about the fight. Look, these motherfuckers think they know what they doing. They think they know what they talking about and all this shit. They don't know shit. Blah, blah, with the woo woo. They probably laughing at it. And that's the thing. Like, you just don't know. It's like, put it like this. People always say the business of boxing stays in boxing and whatever the thing is. People always say that, oh, you guys don't know how these boxers get their money and stuff like that. People always say all kind of shit when it comes to the sport of boxing, right? And we boxing fans, you might as well say as we speak, we all trapped in the motherfucking matrix. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what these promoters is doing. We don't know what these managers is talking about. We don't know what these networks is doing. And really, to tell you the truth, we don't even know who's really in control. We trapped in the matrix. We sitting up over here fighting for our right to see the fights that we want to see. Well, we don't even know who's really in control. And I'm gonna explain that, because I can't just say it and not explain it, because I said we don't know who's in control. So I'm saying it as a fact. I put it like this. In my opinion, the reason why I say that is the same reason why, the same excuse why the Wilder and Fury fight didn't happen is the same excuse AJ and Fury ain't happening. It's the same excuse. You can't find a venue. You can't find a date. There's all kind of, you've been putting on fights. You've been putting on fights. We know a spot right now that you can put everybody in there that you want to. And there's probably other countries out there that's willing to do the same, because it brings in tourism, and then and it brings in all that money for the broadcast and all that other shit. So people can go and miss me with that. It's something else going on. There got to be something else going on, because at the end of the day, you know, there isn't no excuse on why. So as far as the networks and these promoters and these fighters, that the AJ and Wilder fight didn't. I mean, the Wilder and Fury fight didn't happen. There is no excuse on why you ain't got a venue and a date for the AJ versus Fury fight. There ain't no excuse. Ain't no but time, space, and opportunity and land to put the motherfucker on. So stop it.
Yeah, I mean, and now we're seeing again, that's if this fight with Bud Crawford and Pacquiao does pull through. A fight that has a venue, a date, seemingly. It's saying Dubai or Abu Dhabi, I don't know. But and this I think they were talking about like June 3rd or something, which is cool because it's like the day before the Puerto Rican parade, which is usually fun. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm not going to that shit anyway. But we'll see. I
You
mean,
ain't
like,
Puerto
let's see.
Rican anyways. You black, just like me.
Yeah, definitely, man. The but we'll see what like if these things materialize, man. I just want the talk like or how these people like talk about boxing just to finish, man. It's like it's so girly, like it's so like you're trying to be down like in somebody's entourage, like you over here parking cars like for the entourage, man. Like yeah, like stop it, bro. Like and the thing is too, man. Like it's about making that next guy. And Errol Spence is not the next guy yet. Bud Crawford ain't the next guy yet. Like these dudes could walk anywhere, and nobody's gonna know who they are, bro. Like, and I gave the example too. And this is not dissing nobody, man. If anybody from Sunset ends up hearing this, like, I don't give a shit. Like, you could talk to me in person. But Teofimo Lopez grew up like 6 blocks from my house. The or from my block. Teofimo Lopez could walk through the middle of Sunset Park, through 8th Avenue, 5th Avenue, whatever street, and nobody's gonna be surrounding this dude. And he probably has a bigger fight or a bigger accomplishment than both Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. You know, especially at this point of his career. But nobody's hawking this dude down like that, bro. Like, like it's just a regular dude, bro. Like he melts into the crowd just like Errol Spence and Bud Crawford will do. Them dudes literally have to have people tell people in strip clubs, like, yo, this is Errol Spence. And people have to Google Errol Spence in the strip club to know who this dude is, bro. Like, so, you ain't top dogging like that. You regular, that's like me flexing on somebody, because I'm driving an Accord and they're driving a Civic, which I don't drive an Accord or a Civic. But these dudes, I mean, it's this new school logic, which I can't subscribe to, bro. You still there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm prepping the grill, and you absolutely right, man. And you know, you're absolutely right. Look, you know, um, fucking Andy Ruiz and Canelo, they training in San Diego, right? They training in San Diego. You know,
I didn't even
they
know
gotta
that.
go out, yeah, they gotta go out to eat. They gotta go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? They gotta go somewhere. Somebody gotta see them. Ain't nobody looking for them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm it's not to say if Canelo was walking down the street. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying in general. It's just boxing ain't is not what it was. Yesterday. You know what I'm saying? People need to um understand that. And in order for it to get back what it was yesterday, people people just gonna have to start making fights and stop worried about, all this A side stuff and blah 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 woo woo woo. Because you don't have to talk about A side to be A side. You just gotta be about it. That's the trick. That's the thing about being A side. You don't have to say it, you just have to be about it. Your movements and your interactions, with everybody and this thing they call the universe and stuff like that. Hold up. That's gonna show everybody who's the A side and stuff like that. I don't give a fuck. Oh man, I gotta fix that. I don't give a fuck who's the A side and who's not and all that shit. I just want to see the fights that I want to see, and I'm tired of of having to, you know what, at the end of the day, you know, when you know, part of it is just people getting caught up. People just getting caught up in this whole thing of, you know, um, making money off of YouTube, man. They're just caught up in the whole thing of making money off of YouTube and trying to build fights and trying to build their channel and chase the narratives that they think that people want to see and stuff like that. And that's part of the people who do that are part of the problem too, because
They are the problem.
they're enabling these fighters to act like this. How is us as boxing fans are supposed to put our foot down and let the whole world know, including the Max Kellermans of the world, that we fed up and tired of this BS shit, and it won't be tolerated when everybody is out there, even talking about Wilder versus fucking Dillian White. Like, fuck that shit. That's not what we want to see. You know what I'm saying? And if the media is sitting up over there not giving a fuck and barely talking about shit and probably talking about this Manny and Crawford thing, when that's not even the fight that should be talked about. The thing that should be talked about is, why the fuck are we not getting the Errol Spence fight, right now? Why? Why? And I'm not saying neither one of them is ducking per se, but what I'm saying is that it's probably both of their fucking fault the fight ain't happening. We don't know.
No, I do put it on both of them.
You there?
I'm not coming here defending Bud Crawford. Like, a lot of people think I may be doing that, but it's not. It's just that there's a abundance of dudes that are over here acting like Errol Spence is making moves and Bud Crawford is not, or like that. Bud Crawford is should be begging for a fight. Both these dudes are black cats. A lot of these dudes be acting like Bud is on some sort of leash or like that.
Well, you know what?
Dick riding Bob Arum.
But check this out, though. This is what people don't even understand. So, well, not understand, but this is what they need to take into account, right? What they need to take into account is that what if Crawford beating Manny Pacquiao gives him a better audience in the future? What if Crawford can be that guy where Errol Spence is, or better, by beating this guy? And you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to sit up over there and was like, how was him beating an old 42-year-old supposed to get him there? There is no fucking mathematical equation to make you a pay-per-view
They're already saying that, Mike.
No, hold up. But there ain't no mathematical equation out there to make you a pay-per-view star, to make you a star, to make you this magnificent beyond life sports guy. There isn't none. And so, we don't know what's gonna happen if he does get that fight. But there's one thing for sure, and there's one thing for certain. Who the fuck is Errol fighting next?
Who's who fighting? Sorry, say it again.
Who's Errol fighting next?
Oogie. The incredible Oogie.
You see what I'm saying? Like, does anybody really think that him fighting Ugas is supposed to give him more numbers? Him fighting Ugas is supposed to make him worldly and this and the third. If you don't care, if Crawford being that undisputed once in his lifetime doesn't matter at 147, then what does it matter right now at 147? Because don't nobody really give a fuck about. None of these the people who bring in the most to boxing does not care about these fly by night fans. Don't care about undisputed. Don't even know what it is. They have to listen to the guy explain it on TV as they hear it. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't know. All that is just bells.
Most boxing fans don't even know there's 4 belts.
All that is bells and whistles and trinkets to them. They don't give a fuck. They really don't. And if they do, I can go to my job right now and ask motherfuckers one. I got a pair of autographed gloves by Amanda Serrano and her sister, right? My boss was like, "What is the WBA? Is that Women's Boxing Association?" And I was like, "Nah."
That's
The
my boo
W
too,
stands
bro.
for world, huh?
That's my boo too. I've always dug
Mm-hmm.
Lana. Not the
Yeah, you can
sister
buy
though.
the gloves on their website, man.
I'm good.
No, I
I'm
bought it
too cheap.
because
I'm too
I
cheap for
wanted
it.
to support. Huh?
Nah, I know. And you're big. Not for nothing, bro. You're one of the bigger advocates of women's boxing that's on YouTube, and I'm glad you're taking that position. More so of late too.
No, I'm not. I'm not one of the biggest advocates,
Well, no, I mean
but
you're one of the
I
bigger
wouldn't
ones that
say
I
that.
know. Like,
I wouldn't say that. But out of all the people I see talking about it, I'm the only guy that don't want nothing from it. You know, I'm not trying to get interviewed. I'm not trying to butter these girls, these women up. I'm not trying to do none of that. And I keep seeing time and time again, dick writers keep coming up. I've been talking about it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I may not have made that many videos, but between the live streams, I have talked about shit. You know, but I'm not sitting up over here, and I'm not wanting shit from them. But I've seen guys like, you know, Ring IQ and because you know I gotta say their names because I don't
I
want
don't give a
nobody to
shit,
sit up
bro.
over here. I don't want nobody sitting up over here thinking I'm pump faking and shit like that and faking the funk. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm making it clear and direct. Ring IQ and Punch Drunk. Them ain't nothing but no bootlickers. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to these fighters, you know what I'm saying? They might sit up over there and say a couple of things that might sound a little bit thing, but really at the end of the day, listen to what they say and how they say it. They ass kissers. They don't give a fuck about doing an interview with them. The only thing they give a fuck is about getting some views. It's getting in somebody's inner circle. And that's the reason why I refuse to go. That's the reason why I made a personal commitment not to go on certain people's channels anymore. Because I don't think it's conducive to boxing to sit up over there and have a back and forth about me talking about the LDBC um and 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 how everybody else's perception is about it. I don't need to explain the LDBC. If you don't like it, tough luck. You know what I'm saying? If you tired of getting kicked out of their channels because you got a difference of opinion, well, this is what you need to understand with saying a difference of opinion. Don't nobody know you and don't nobody know of you when you come on a channel. And so when you talking shit, without saying anything else, but just throwing up shit, just throwing up shit, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get booted. You're gonna get booted. That's what's gonna happen. And then grown, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Boxers, all that shit. L Fowler player, no. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there's only so much of I can do for you. Especially when you, I mean, on my, I'm just talking about my channel. At some point, you just got to go.
No, I mean, I invite all the reckless talk, and in fact, you're more than welcome to jump onto the panels. Um, by anybody who wants to contend any notion that I'm trying to set forward, and and you've been willing in the past too, like to let other people like come through, and most times they didn't take you up on your offer. But I have to be honest, man, like I'm not gonna mention groups by name or nothing. Like my disenfranchisement has come with a lot of channels that I do like, and I stopped I probably listen to boxing talk right now, like 80% less than I did like last year because it was just too much, like not even dick riding. It's like just torching Bud. And I'm not like here advocating for Bud, but I'm like, damn, like what the hell did you do to you guys, bro? Like the dude's married to a sister. He has a family. I mean, he's down with the Goonie stuff, like from the street days. Like I respect that. Like I mean personally, like, if it were me and Bud, like, I could probably chop it up with him, like, and real recognize real. But Errol Spence, I mean, like, coming through with that smug stuff, like, and I'm not saying it dissing him, but like, he wouldn't last like 20 minutes in Sixth Ave or any rough part of my hood. He'd be in tough shit. But another thing too, like as far as mentioning channels on my shit, I mean, I don't want to gossip with channels that I do like. I mean, I don't have problems with you, like, but if any like of these whack channels, feel free to mention them by name. I don't give two shits. And while I'm on that note, King Louis, you're a big pussy. Wherever the hell you've disappeared to. This is me personally. It's not Mike or anybody I'm associated with. You're a pussy. You're a lame, and I'm pretty sure you're either in the pen or on some methadone program. Um, but you know, I'll just try to throw that point in
Well,
whenever I could.
King Louis, man. That's the only dude I don't talk about him, but
No,
I
I
just
do.
wish the brother. I just wish the brother the best, man. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
I'm
fuck
not.
that, dude. Don't even talk about that. Like, I just like to.
No,
I
I'm.
only mention him in insults,
I'm just
bro.
gonna lace it down. I'm just lacing it down for me, for me. You know what I'm saying? I just wish that dude the best and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no ill will towards him. We got our hang ups and stuff like that. But you know, some of these other cats, man. I'm not even. I don't. On Twitter, I mute them. That's my thing right now. I just mute guys now, because I don't have time to be sitting up over here listening to their propaganda and watching and looking how people just eat that dumbass shit up. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
Was that your phone or mine?
nah, I ain't this shit.
I'm sorry, bro.
Some, I'm just
My
saying,
fault.
like some people, man, I just wish them the best, man. Some people, I really do. They step on the crack and break their mama's back, you know, because what they doing to the sport of boxing is as far as I'm concerned is a motherfucking travesty. Stop letting these guys fuck talking. If you want, if you keep talking about you wanting to see these fights, right? Then if you want to see fights so bad, then at the end of the day, you shouldn't care what the split is. You shouldn't care how much people get. You shouldn't care about none of that shit. But just if is the fight going to happen or is it not? That's it.
Nah, and this all started like honestly like post Mayweather. But I remember like the only fight before that was like being like built up or like where two fan bases were like, oh, our guy is gonna win that fight. And it wasn't even like an A side B side thing. It was more like why ain't the fight happening right now? That I remember from back in the day. And this is like me and my little Sunset Park Brooklyn vacuum. But that was Trinidad De La Hoya. And that fight, I mean, like from the time that people were talking about it a lot to the time that it happened was maybe a year and a half that I remember. I mean, I was in the streets at that time too, but it wasn't no like long drawn out shit. Like, and at that point, Trinidad was selling out Madison Square Garden every time he fought. De La Hoya was selling out everywhere he walked, upon the earth. And like, no, like nice, nobody was saying how much one deserves of the other. Like that shit just confuses the matter, bro. Like, like these money things. And at the end of the day, bro, like I don't see neither one of them dudes like netting like 5 million a fight right now. Like, that they're kind of like getting by boxes. Both of these cats, bro. Like, why ain't you fighting each other? And if they have a reason as to why they're not fighting each other, or they have a master plan that I'm not privy to, that's fantastic. I mean, like, but you as a fan or me as a fan, like, I mean, we shouldn't get on the side of like, saying that one guy's better than the other. And this is me who's taking Bud's side more than I am Errol Spence at this time. I'm not gonna say that Bud Crawford deserves like a bigger split of the pie, or if he beats Manny Pacquiao, it's the same shit, bro. I'm gonna tell you, my conversation is not gonna do with who deserves what. It's gonna be basically like, why ain't they fighting? Why ain't they fighting? Why ain't they fighting? It ain't gonna be about like getting one person paid more than the other. I don't give a shit. Both those dudes have more money than me. Like that's fantastic. I'm not hating, but it's not my principal focus. My principal focus is for them two scrawny motherfuckers to get into the ring and beat each other for my viewing pleasure.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, what's gonna stop me from streaming the fucking fight? You know, what's gonna stop me from streaming the fucking fight? You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's the stuff that's gonna happen if things keep going the way that they're going. Because when we all look at it all, it's all gonna stem from how much of a draw is the fight to us for us to fucking pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And when you're looking at things, if you don't have cable, you know what I'm saying? You can't get on the CBS and Fox to watch some of these fights because your internet service provider, when you log on to CBS or ESPN, if it ain't on Plus, some of these things gonna tell you it's not with your network provider. You know what I'm saying? So you have to stream it because obviously it's not boxing hasn't given people that thing to go out there and spend an additional $60 a month for a fucking plan. Because I'm not because that's an extra $60 a month plus yo Hulu, Disney, and ESPN Plus subscription, and then on top
And
of
you're
your
not getting
Netflix
fights that
subscription,
often.
and then on top of your internet bill, and everything else that you got. That's a subscription that now these days. StreamYard is a subscription.
It is.
Streamlabs is a subscription. Yeah, it's either you pay yearly or you pay monthly.
So StreamYard, I ain't paying for that shit.
Yeah, well, if you want all the bells and whistles and stuff like that,
Oh fuck
you
them.
you would have to use OBS with YouTube to have all the bells and whistles and stuff. But
I don't even know what OBS is, so they can keep that shit.
something broadcasting something.
I'm cool. The oh, and speaking of which, man, I gotta ask you something afterwards. When we get off stream, I gotta find out how to fuck with the VPN for investing
Oh,
purposes. No,
nah, just
just tell me after, because I it's for investment stuff.
well,
The
it's good for everybody else too that's possibly watching or see it later.
you want me to ask you the question now?
Yeah.
No, because and I know you invest in crypto like me, but there's a crypto that I'm trying to get that's on Binance. You can't buy it on in the American market, so don't have a I don't have a VPN yet. So I'm trying to see if it's an easy thing like to set my VPN up to be like in Asia or something
Yeah.
and buy it like that.
You can either use a free one or you could pay a year or 6 months subscription for one. But then you get you gotta some of those they have data plans with them. So that's the thing. So what you do is you get a router and you call it don't call it VPN. Call it, you know, um call it Spectrum
Pacquiao.
or call it Spectre. You know what I'm saying? Anomaly or something. And you could set the VPN to the router. So most VPN services they show you how to input it in the router. So anytime you log into anytime you go onto that Wi-Fi thing for that router, or you plug it in there through the lane, it automatically tunnels you through a VPN. That's the best way to do it. There's free ones out there, but the free ones are not reliable, and some of them might not be that secure. You know what I'm
But
saying?
should I get a VPN if I'm doing that, like just for small time, like sometime investment purchases, like that I want to do elsewhere? Like, you think I should pay for a VPN?
For
Mind you, I'm cheap as fuck too. Like,
I would say yeah, because you want this yeah and no. You just got to look for one. You just got to find one that's reliable and secure. But if you really want it secure and stuff like that, because you're tunneling through with your investments and stuff like that, the best thing to do is to pay for it. One of them that just pops up because I used it before was Strong VPN. I used Strong VPN to get the American Netflix when I was in Japan.
I see. Yo, speaking of which, bro, while we're on investments too, don't name it, bro, because I don't want nobody jumping on fucking Johnny Come Lately because I still want to buy it for cheap. But remember that stock that I was recommending to you when I was in AutoZone and all this shit a couple months ago? Don't say the name. It was a crypto. But I'll tell you afterwards. But that shit was 67 cents when I told you. Guess how much it got up to? That was in December too, mind you, or in January when I talked to you. $15, bro. Yeah, bro, it's legit, bro. Like fucking, I'm pretty much buying that shit and holding, bro. Like fucking, But I'll tell you afterwards though, because you my
Put in the
man, bro.
private chat. Put in the private chat.
Nah, I'm telling you afterwards, like in phone call, bro. The less people, the better. The and if you're listening to this, too bad, bro, because I'm trying. Once it goes up, I'll let everybody know what it is. But for now, you're asked out. But I just started investing like in December, man, and I've been like or like online investment, but I've been looking into it for over a year, reading charts every day, and like I wanted to make sure my other hedge, the one I always tell you about that I showed you, the physical one,
Which one?
the physical stuff that I invest in.
Well, which one?
I'll tell you afterwards. But precious metals. But or like
Oh, yeah, I know.
until I was secure with that, like now I'm like okay, like with investing elsewhere. Like or now I have enough to where I'm comfortable investing elsewhere. But I've been crushing it, bro. Like the doing it. I'm gonna do it full time now. In fact, I was gonna buy 3G's worth of the precious metals like in a couple days, and I already took a G of that money and threw it into crypto again. Even though I got torched a little bit, but it's the move, bro. If you guys ain't invested, man, you're missing out. The yeah, man. But maybe one of these days we gotta have Mike and Files investment chats, bro. Like, cause hopefully me and you ain't working in 10 years, bro.
Well,
10 years is
I just tell people like anytime there's a pandemic or there's a crash, usually when you know that it's probably going to happen, you should probably buy some bullets, silver, and when the stocks go down, there's certain stocks that ain't gonna go nowhere. You know, Procter and Gamble, Porsche, BMW, um, BMW, Ford, GM, um,
commodities.
uh, GE. Um, you got to buy the commodities beforehand, before all that, because the commodities gonna go up.
Oh yeah, they do go up actually.
But
They
you
have
could,
been going up too.
but with that being said, you could also play against the game by doing stock options.
Yeah,
So
don't even recommend options to a lot of people, bro, because they're
no,
like,
no, I recommend the options when shit go all the way down, because you could put an option for a year out, six months out, or a year out. You can, and because you don't know when it's gonna start going back up, or whatever the case may be. But you know, I give you one particular you could have made money off of GameStop even before all that hoopla, because I made money off of GameStop before Reddit and all the people got involved, because of PlayStation. It was going to go up
yeah,
anyway.
I know, like that was like that made little sense. It wasn't like I was tuned in like that. I mean, but a lot of people like they when you go to CNBC to like learn investing or Squawk on the Street or Bloomberg, they're gonna lead you wrong most times. Like when they tell you like that something has no chance, like Chrysler had no chance of like surviving, and then Chrysler got a bailout. like with your tax, with your money, taxpayer money, and now Chrysler is doing Gucci, like, but they were telling you that
See,
Chrysler was going to go to
but that's
zero.
that's the thing. But that's the thing right there. But that's the thing, is that um notice how I didn't talk about companies that took a bailout. Ford didn't take a bailout.
No, Ford did it, yeah.
So so if you look at the companies when it comes to a pandemic, they have the money. They they they
Hell
they
yeah,
they,
bro.
they
You kidding me?
fucking they fucking have the fucking money to withstand it. They don't want to take
Absolutely.
the bailout. They don't want to take the bailout because they don't want to take they don't want nobody to take the control and tell them what to do. And I'm gonna give you a good analogy on that. People are trying. See, look, people cried over Joe Biden because of socialism, right? I'm not getting political, so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
just giving you an example for all you people out there. People cried about Joe Biden getting in because of socialism and all that stuff. But then as soon as he told these guys, you could make jobs over here, whatever you want to. And now people are mad that some of these one of these particular auto companies are going to Mexico, back to Mexico, right? People are mad. So you mad about Joe Biden and socialism, but then you want to stop companies from doing what they want to do. So now when it suits you, you're willing to control people and control companies from doing what they need to do, that because that's what part of the company is, to maximizing their profits. Now you want to control them. So you got to be careful what you ask for. I think companies should do whatever. If that's what suits them, that's what they should do. But what should happen is that you know they should pay a higher percentage in taxes.
Yeah, I mean, like it's complicated. The
No, because at the end of the day, if you taking the jobs from the little man, if you taking jobs from the little man, right? Then you have to also, me, the way I see it is, you have to pay us, which means we pay less taxes because you want to move that shit.
Now I see what you're saying. The I don't like, as far as taxing, like I think when a company has the ability to to transport like a lot of their workforce elsewhere, it's iffy taxing them too, because like if Amazon brand like dips off and puts part of their shipping in offshore or Puerto Rico, you know like these like Amazon like shipping hubs and whatnot, like who would operate them after the fact here in the US? Like who has enough like pull to generate that kind of like workforce, like in the US? Like it's just iffy. Like and not because I'm like pro capitalism, like and or 100% pro capitalism, like a lot of and I'm more conservative, but a lot of these people that do argue these points are pretty broke, and a lot of them don't work. Like as far as like on the Republican side, like the Hicks, if you will. But like it's a iffy subject. But like nah, and we torched the people that were watching us, but I had five. Like it got down to one at some point. But nah, the but we got to do like a Mike's investment like thing too, man. Because if you're not invest like, and I think I told this to Mike too, man. Like and I like I'll kill the investment talk for a little while, like, but and this has been even before I started investing, but I've been acquiring and hedging my position for the better part of a year, but I just started taking risk investment like in the last 3 months. But if you really cut down on everything you do and try to spend like very little money, like which Black people and Spanish people used to do up until like the 70s, like we were cheap as fuck. Like we like and we still like had the ability like to make bread and like in spite of everything that was like thrown against us. We got to get back to that to a degree. Like, and I've done that in a personal life because I've wasted almost 10 grand one night going out several times. Like at least 5 times I've done that. I've like paid my friends rent a few times. Like the whores, like fucking gear. Like I've spent like on clothes. Sometimes like back in the day. I mean, I'm talking like like 90s. I spent 1,000 on one outfit easy. Like out Moschino, fucking Iceberg, Gucci, like whatever was most expensive at Macy's in Atlantic Avenue, I was copping it. Like, and I pretty much had none of that stuff. Like every time I would go away, my crackhead brothers like would take it, like and I'd be left with nothing, like but a headache. Where I could have been investing that money, like and um been crushing it right now, or like learning about investing rather than like trying to keep people like off this block or that block, or like who is coming into my area, wasting my time. Everybody who used to hustle back in the day that I knew, like on the streets, for the most part, like half of them lived with their moms. Um, all had nice ass whips, like 3 baby moms, like getting locked up all the time. Like none of them had bread like that. Maybe one of them have like legal bread coming in now. Like there's no like come up off. But I don't waste money on haircuts, and it seems like Mike's not getting his haircuts either. The yeah, wolfing. But like
Oh
I
nah, this ain't working, man. This is blackness right here, man.
nah, it's
I
beautiful
love, and
though.
I love
Nah,
every
not for nothing,
fucking,
yo, Mike.
and
Straight up,
I
like
love every
when you got your
fucking
shit,
nap.
when you got your shit fresh, like it, like honestly, like for like, and I'm talking like from like so-called minority, like like when I get like my shit like cut up like fresh, I be looking like a straight like hip hop fan type shit, bro. And I don't want that look no more, bro. Like I don't want the cops to bother me no more. Like fucking I and not that I gotta make moves around them, but it's also a waste of money. Like 2 times I've been in fights in the barbershop. Like, my homeboy said it on somebody in the barbershop like 4 years ago. It's just a waste of time. Like, which one?
Well, I'll put it to you like this, right?
But I'm
So
saying more from the money aspect. Like,
no,
it's
no,
just
no.
not
We're
good
gonna.
to
That's
throw
what
money
I'm
away.
hitting at. This is why I'm hitting at. This is why I'm hitting at. The only times I dress up, the only times I really put on clothes and buy stuff, is when is I do it for my old lady. I don't do it for me. You know what I'm saying? I do it for her. I get my hair cut, put on some nice shit, look nice and stuff like that. I do that for her. But you know, at the end of the day, I put it to you like this. You know, everybody that don't know me think I'm fucking broke. Think I'm fucking broke. I didn't post on Facebook that I bought a house. That
I did.
I bought a house at more than 130 grand. I mean 100, yeah, 130 grand, more than that. Um, I didn't go around telling people I bought a house on Facebook. I didn't go around bragging to people and shit like that. I bought my house, moved my old lady into there. You know what I'm saying? So she can have something that's hers, right? And I keep trying to tell folks is that you don't do shit for for people that don't know you, you know. And a lot of people, they don't dress nice because they want to look nice. It's because they want people to know that they more than what they actually really are.
No, and the people we do that to a lot of times are like other black dudes and other Spanish dudes. That's why I got rid of all my shit, bro. I'm not rocking no more jewelry. Like my more luxurious car, I got rid of that shit. Like I'm not buying a new car ever again. Like I'm not like if it costs money, like I'm trying to talk my way out of this shit. Like and like us as black and Spanish people, we diss like each other for being prepared or cheap. Like, like for like I saw a meme on Facebook and it said it actually said black people, but it's just applicable to Spanish people too. That we're the only ones that'll insult you for being prepared and be like, yo, and it said like a quote, like this motherfucker, like in the winter, it said like in like this motherfucker came with gloves, like in the winter, like and we do that like type of stuff, like everything like that has to do with investing or we're trying to save bread, like we diss it as corny, like or if we get a like car like at that's dependable, like we're like, oh, why don't you get a Tesla or some shit, like
No, I'm not
but
driving a PT Cruiser though.
nah, I'm not driving like a bum mobile either, but I'm just not gonna buy like no new shit ever again. Like I mean, not
Well,
even to say a car note. Like
no, I'm gonna buy my, my old lady wants something new, better, but eventually that's what we're gonna do. But I fixed my own car. Did my drive, my drive shaft, my CV axle. About to do my struts. Did my water pump and some other shit. You know, I'm all about saving money. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'm about to buy a $1,900 refrigerator. Um, I give you another aspect of what you was talking about. I like to fish. So so I was like, you know what? What's more adventurous, to get a boat or a kayak? So I was like, I'm gonna get a kayak. So I got a $2,300 kayak with foot pedals. You know what I'm saying? I got one of them Hobie kayaks. People's like, oh, you like doing what white people like to do, and this and the third. I was like, man, we invented this shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, motherfuckers wouldn't have a kayak if it wasn't for us. You know what I'm saying? So you know, you know when when that's it's so white and all that shit, and people need to learn how to get outside the elements, and this is why now in this day and age, even with all these computers and shit like that, now everybody want to get into stocks and all that shit, and talk about some, now everybody want to get, you know, let me tell y'all something. There ain't no retirement in OnlyFans. The only when you online twerking your ass, doing all that, when you online doing this YouTube stuff, ain't no retirement, homie. Eventually, the shit is gonna end, and what's gonna happen? You gonna have to get your ass to work. And by the time then, what job skills you got? You're gonna have to start all over again. You might lose everything you got before that. So, you know, people just need to understand is that, ain't nothing in life fair. And, when you're young, it's better to get on your game, because when you when you're 40, 50, 60 years old, it's gonna be even harder. Because you on your way out the door.
yeah, man. Nah, I mean, like another thing too, man, is that like because like dead ass, bro. Like since I started investing in the other stuff, like I was trying to put people on left and right, and all I would hear was like dumb talk. And again, like I haven't made like crazy money on my first investment, but I doubled it like in a year. I could live with that, but I haven't lost money. But I be trying to put people on left and right, bro. And like if it's some white cat like telling you, like, then you're all ears. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like when I try to tell my boys about like, invest in this and that, like if one person like listen to me, it's a lot. And like the only person that listened to me is only listening to me now because my shit went up like 1,000%, 1,500% in 3 months. So now they're listening. But like they could have been in like when I was getting in, like, and dibbing and dabbing. But the main thing though, man, like with the money that you got coming in for anybody, man, like just don't give it out, bro. Like Jewish guys, bro. Like I my neighborhood is right next to like the biggest Orthodox community in the whole country. Yo, they don't waste money for shit. Like they have everything they need in their neighborhood, and it's not like cheaper than like Amazon, but you'll never see an Amazon box in front of the house. Like they all their money stays in that community. Like period. And a lot of dudes like, as soon as there's some shit with like the police like beating on us. We'll be like, oh, we got to take down, like, we got to start supporting like black businesses or black schools. But then, we go into these businesses and we give them a hard time, like, and then those people don't want to stay in business. They don't have that fire like under them, like, because you're over here busting their chops because it's 50 cents more expensive at your store than it is on Amazon. But don't I mean like it's a lot easier just to work within your family and and not try to bring everybody with you because it's a pain in the ass, bro. Like I have so many dudes like telling me sob stories and shit. I'm like, yo, my man, like I was literally homeless twice. I've never been given anything. I lived in a Section 8 my whole life. I dropped out in ninth grade, food stamps, projects, busting it, juxing. I've never borrowed money ever in my life. Like, I've never given nobody a sob story. I've given people the impression that I had it when I did it. Sure, like I've done that in the past, like, but if I needed it and you had it, that shit was mine. Basically, but people like now I'm applying it in a different strategy. Like, a lot of the time that I would waste, like, thinking that people were trying to infringe on mine, or like people that thinking that somebody was going to take some little side street that was working. Now I'm putting that same effort into investing or into being cheap and to being like conservative with my money. And it's thankfully like the gods are looking out. And I'm not trying to flex on nobody, man. Like, like if I do ever like come up big time, bro, I'm not gonna flex on nobody ever. Like, I'm not like again, I can make $1 billion and I'm not gonna buy no new whip. Like, I mean, like the only thing I want is land. I mean, and I did show off my house when I bought it, but again, like, you're talking about somebody who was Section 8, and maybe 5 years ago I was pretty broke, but and this is like my first house, like, I was proud of it, but I ain't overpaid for this house either. It's gone up like a motherfucker like since I bought it, but like I'm not having trouble paying for it, and I didn't overpay for it. Um, but it was and I only showed it off because it's my first house. You know what I'm saying? Like coming from where I come from, and because I live in the
Well, but I'm not saying there's something wrong with
no,
showing
I'm not
off.
saying you're coming at me. I'm just saying like for the person that's like listening to this. Cause I
No,
talk.
because I've been through similar shit that you have. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that a lot of these motherfuckers, you know, when I was older. How old was you when you bought that house?
Shit, I was like mid to late 30s.
Okay, so we was kind of in the same boat, but I just felt that you know a lot of people on my Facebook, um, they're not even my fucking real friends anyways. And so, what do I need to show up to them for? Because I don't want them in my business anyway. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them in my business. I want some of the motherfuckers is they cool to hang around with, but they not cool to really, really hang around with. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel that, at the end of the day is like if people was really on their thing, because I got too many people on my Facebook that always want to be they want to be a Facebook philosopher and all that shit, Facebook relationship guy, always telling their business and always saying shit, you know what I'm saying, about bettering themselves and how, every people got the game fucked up and shit like that. But guess where they live? In an apartment. Guess where they live? With their mammy. Guess where they live? With their baby mama. You know what I'm saying? And in their apartment. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm trying to tell these cats, man, do you know if you was really on your grind? Look, if you a dope dealer, right? There's the easy way and there's a hard way to clean your money. If you want to be cool about your game and stuff like that, You actually get a legitimate business, but you don't be greedy with it. There's ways to do it. But a lot of these cats, guess what they do is they go buy Mercedes. They go buy 40, 60, 80, $90,000 cars. 100 plus thousand, 100 K plus cars. For what? To put everybody in your business. You know what I'm saying? The more you flash, the more your ass is gonna be exposed. And that's why I told all these cats. And guess what happened to them? Doing all that flashing. Because first of all, when you go and get a 50, 60,000, $80,000 car plus, right? First of all, a lot of motherfuckers ain't built to keep it, and they ain't built to maintain it. And when I say keep
the maintaining part is the killer.
Ooh, we. And when I say keep it, it's either somebody gonna take it, like steal your shit, or the repo man coming.
No, and with the flexing stuff too, bro. Like, you know, especially if you don't have it, bro. Because I used to feel that way too, bro. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I started, like, I guess, doing bad stuff for money, like when I was young, because like me and my friends would talk about, like, we wouldn't even talk about like what cars we wanted to buy. Like when we were young, we talk about like what food we wish we could eat. Like, you know, oh, I wish we could eat a triple quarter pounder. Like I didn't eat like even takeout until I started like going out there and getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, like, but I guess when I was caught up with that life, like I was a more of a dick like back in the day. But I guess, you know, ever since I've stepped away from that stuff, like, you know, I've been a lot nicer of a person. Like, so people like, honestly, like people were genuinely happy when I bought my cribbles. I thought, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was more like, you know, because my family a lot of times, like, you know, like my aunts and uncles, like when we used to live in my first apartment in 779 40th Street, before we moved into the projects, that was like a two-bedroom house, and it was like seven of us in that shit. And when we were like broke, all my family would come over and like kind of like throw like side dishes like at my mom's. Like, oh, you know, like fucking like you got your kids living here, like. And then when my mom moved to the projects, it was like a bigger apartment, like because my mom's apartment house is like pretty big, or her house in the projects. It had like more like one more bedroom, and then like my family like wouldn't want to come over, but like, you know, and that was like my older family, like my aunts and uncles and shit. But like my cousins, they always used to feel bad for us, like, you know, like we know like you guys are pretty much broke, and that my brothers are like drug addicts now, like, you know, and my dad was a drug addict. So I mean, like, I think they were genuinely happy like when I got my cribs, and if they weren't, like, you know, fuck them. But and it was my first one. You know, I don't have too many chances to take a victory lap, and hopefully, you know, this is one of my houses like forever. But
No, I just tell them in person. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't go like I just didn't want. That's the reason
no,
why I
not
didn't.
you. I know you, yeah, because like,
You
yo,
know,
like if anybody's listening to this, like me and Mike, when we talk off of YouTube, we like probably never talk about boxing. We talk about old man shit,
yeah.
fridges now, and like, you know, uh, cooking and shit like that. Like, you know, like we don't talk about no scandalous shit or fucking Mike Jackson, whatever the fuck his name is. Like, you know, I'm already an adult, and Mike's already heading into like old man status, like where I'm at, like, you know, and like, you know, Mike was investing before I was investing, like, you know, as far as like trading and whatnot. So I mean, like, you know, hopefully, in a few years, I mean, like we'll we could both come up big time and fucking
Right.
laugh about these conversations in the future.
Yeah, I'm
The
just like I'm kind of like you. You know what I'm saying? I've been homeless and lived in homeless shelters and shit. But you know, I got aunties and uncles. You know, figured I would have been locked up a long time ago.
and you know, I end up, being better off than even their kid. You know what I'm saying? And it's like one of those things you just never know. You know what I'm saying? And like, where's I'm putting this helmet back together, by the way. You just never know and stuff like that. And I keep trying to I stress to people a lot of times, man. It's like, you know, uh, at the end of the day, sometimes that's all what a motherfucker need is a helping hand. And but what happens is, you know, majority of the time, people, uh, and even your family become part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I give you a prime example with my sister. You know what I'm saying? Anytime she needed, something because her and her kids and stuff like that, them is my fucking, this is my blood. This is my nieces and nephews. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't I, you know, send some money? Why would I be sitting up over here eating good and shit like that and not make sure that her kids, is not having the best time or a better, not the best time in their life, but at least have something better off going on. You know what I'm saying? Than what they accustomed to. You know what I'm saying? It's just, a lot of people are just fucking selfish, man. Because if people really fucking cared, if people fucking really cared and shit like that, they would get it.
No, if it's like a lady family member and they would have asked me for bread, besides like one family member, because I know she smokes pot, like and like my money's going towards that. Like then I have no problem. But for you to be a dude, I'll give you a handout sometimes, man. Like not or I don't lend money out. Like I never lent money out, and I don't ask for money or borrow money. But when I paid my friend's rent, that was like $1,200, and that wasn't that long ago. And that same friend snitched on me pretty much. You know, but and or like I was actually talking to my because I have a friend who's like 93 years old. She's mad smart. She actually writes books. She's writing a book now as we speak. Um, and like not no bullshit. Like it got published. But I was talking to her like because there was my boy Will he got murdered in Rhode Island. Like he went to hustle out there and they he got into a knife fight and he zigged when he should have zagged and he got killed. But I remember his little
Damn.
nephew. Yeah, his nephew. He was like in college playing ball or some shit, and then he came home and he was like, I got kicked out of school for fighting and all this shit. So I gave him $60. I was like, just to hold you down. He ain't asked me for it, but I just gave it to him. But I remember like when I first started doing YouTube, I was trying to like because I I don't know shit about computers. I was like, yo, like if you know how could you edit like a video for me? Like I was trying to get like an intro or some shit. And he works on that stuff. And he's like, yo, what did you ever do for me? I was like, what I ever do for you? I was like, yo, my man, I gave you 60 rocks like when you first came home from college, like when you got kicked out. He's like, oh, I don't remember that. I was like, yeah, that's the problem. Like if somebody gave me $5, like I'd remember that shit for the rest of my life. But like dudes are funny style like that. Like, they think that they're obligated to, like and like another example, like my man that I paid his rent, like he knew me since I was a baby. And like this dude is no chump. Like this dude would in a regular fight, if it were head up, he probably fucked me up. Yo, watch it if you thanks for coming through. If you want to jump on, I left the link in the StreamYard thing. But uh a little bullshit argument where I had to check him. Um and again, if we would have fought, he probably like 70% probably would have fucked me up. But a little bullshit argument that he and I had, and this dude like ended up like inventing shit and like to snitch on me. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody that would pay my rent. Nobody's ever gonna pay my rent but I would name my fucking kid after him. hypothetically. But dudes forget with the quickness, man. Like that's why, like, like if like these cats that be like, moping about and shit like that. I mean, like, you got to pick up yourself, grab the day by the balls, and go get it, bro. If you're doing what I'm doing and being cheap, that shit adds up. Or like, going out there and trying to find out how to make money, like, and you're being cheap, like you're gonna come to that perfect opportunity and like the ability to take advantage of that opportunity, and your life could change. But if you want to, you know, go to Pasha and fucking waste your bread, or like to the clubs, or go to the barbershop and like be tipping like $40, like fucking because you're trying to front like on some other dudes that are there looking at you, then what do you want me to do? I'm over here not getting haircuts and shit, and you're over here trying to impress men.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, bro. And shout out to Watcher too, man. If you could go subscribe to him. Yo, Mike, I'm gonna take off, bro, because I haven't slept and I gotta piss. Yo, but I'm gonna get with you about that thing too. I don't know if you have a Trezor wallet too, but
what?
No, I was thinking about investing in a Trezor wallet, like the hard wallet.
Let me know.
I'm only asking too because I'm only investing in like two things. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so,
well, you don't let it spread out like all over the place, but I'm
not doing that.
You do want to be diversified a bit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, I'm diversified in that sense. In that one of my investments ain't gonna do shit, and like or like that it's just in case something bad happens. And one of my investments, I'm taking risk. Like, and the one I'm taking risk, I just started taking risk. So I'm
right.
It could go to zero, and I'd be okay. Like I have enough for. No, dead ass. Like and Lowe's will tell you, bro. Like, cause I just showed him the other day. Like, but cause I'm trying to get him into it too. Shout out to Lowe's though.
Put me on game, and I'll definitely look at take a peek, and talk to my homies and shit, see what they think, because some of this stuff out there is pretty. You just never know, man. Sometimes you just never know. That's the end. That's what the inside of the football top part of your dome look like.
Oh, the dome piece
right here.
Nah, I remember I used to play football, bro. I used to play safety, bro. Like for him, and I sucked too, bro. I wasn't that good. The only thing I was good at was talking shit.
Yeah,
I'm dead ass, bro.
I do it every now and again, but that's because people started. But
if I was on the field for 40 plays, I'd be talking shit for 38.
Right.
Yeah, bro. Yo, let me take off, Mike. Thanks for coming through to you and to anybody else who's listening this whole time. Me and Mike are gonna come back with basics of investing at some point for hood motherfuckers that really don't get it like me. So thanks for checking us out, man. With that, if you could please subscribe to Michael Johnson Boxing Talking More. Please subscribe to my man Watcher who's in the comments. And with that, I'm out.
Yeah.